Welcome to Infinite Universe with interesting episode. 4 years, Edd China was the calm genius working behind the scenes on Wheeler Dealers. He was the man who made fixing impossible car problems look easy. People all over the world admired him for how effortlessly he worked on cars, no matter how complicated the issue. He stayed calm, explained everything clearly, and helped viewers understand how to repair cars. But one day, without any warning, Edd was gone. He disappeared from television, and fans were left wondering what had happened. In March 2017, Edd shocked everyone when he announced that he was leaving Wheeler Dealers after 13 years. It was hard for fans to believe. For more than a decade, he had been the heart of the show. Edd wasn't leaving because he didn't like cars anymore. The truth was much deeper. There were creative disagreements between him and the show's producers. The show had changed a lot. It started as a small-budget program in the UK, but it became an international success. Edd and his co-host Mike Brewer had worked together for years. Mike bought and sold cars, and Edd fixed them. Fans loved watching Edd work in the garage. He didn't just show the final results. He taught people about the entire repair process. But the producers wanted to change the format. They planned to move the show to the United States and have a new company produce it. They wanted to make the show faster and more exciting by cutting down on the time spent in the workshop. Edd didn't agree. He believed that the show's true value was in showing the real work, the step-by-step repairs. He thought that if they removed those parts, the show would lose its purpose. It would stop being about learning and start being just another entertainment program. Edd made a decision. Rather than compromise, he left the show. His departure surprised everyone. Fans reacted immediately. Some were angry, some were supportive, and many were simply sad. To them, Edd was the reason they watched the show. He was trustworthy and knowledgeable. Mike Brewer responded, too. He said he was sad that Edd left but promised that the show would go on with a new co-host, Anton Stead. But everyone knew the show wouldn't be the same without Edd. The connection between Mike and Edd had taken years to develop, and it couldn't be replaced easily. Edd didn't blame anyone. He didn't start any drama. He calmly explained his reasons in a video that quickly got millions of views. But even though he was calm, the message was clear. The show had changed, and it was no longer the right place for him. Edd and Mike both faced backlash from fans. Some people sent angry messages. Edd later admitted that it was a hard time. He still believed he made the right choice, but that didn't make it easy. After leaving the show, Edd disappeared from public life. For almost a year, he didn't appear on any new TV shows or make any big announcements. People started asking questions. Was he done with TV? Had he lost interest in cars? Was he okay? Nobody knew for sure. The truth was that Edd had gone back to his garage, the place where he had always been happiest. He returned to the same workshop where he had once created things like the motorized office chair and the street-legal sofa. This time, there were no cameras, no deadlines, and no pressure. Just Edd, his tools, and his ideas. People who knew him said he was taking time to recharge. After years of working on tight schedules and under the watchful eyes of producers, he was finally free to work at his own pace. He wasn't being lazy. He was building again, just for the joy of building. He started looking at old projects he had abandoned, sketching new ideas, and testing inventions. Some people thought he might be working on electric car conversions. That would make sense, given Edd's interest in sustainable technology. But there was no official news. No one knew exactly what he was doing. Online forums were full of fans trying to guess where Edd had gone. YouTube comments on old Wheeler Dealers videos were filled with messages from people who missed him. They weren't just curious. They were concerned. They hoped he was okay, both mentally and physically. Leaving a big show like Wheeler Dealers isn't just a career move. It can affect a person deeply. Edd later said that the decision was emotional and difficult. He had left behind a global audience, a steady income, and a show he helped build from scratch. It's easy to imagine how that could lead to burnout. For years, Edd had worked under pressure. Fans, producers, and TV executives all expected him to perform. Over time, that can wear anyone down. People close to the industry said that Edd had been frustrated for a while before he left. He still loved working on cars, but the environment was no longer right for him. So his garage became a place of peace and healing. He even stayed away from social media. His Twitter went silent, and his YouTube channel had no new videos. Occasionally, someone would say they saw Edd at a small engineering event or a classic car show. These small sightings made fans even more curious. Was he testing a new invention? Was he working on a secret project? No one knew. And Edd wasn't saying anything. The longer he stayed silent, the more mysterious his absence became. People wanted to know if he was taking a break or planning something big. Then, in 2018, something changed. A new video appeared on YouTube. It was called Garage Revival Episode 1. There was no big announcement, no advertisement, just the video. But for fans, that was more than enough. Edd was back. The new series wasn't on TV. It was on his own YouTube channel. That meant Edd was in control. The idea behind the show was simple but powerful. Edd would visit people who had started car restoration projects but couldn't finish them. Maybe they ran out of time, money, or skill. Edd would help them complete those projects. Garage Revival was about more than just fixing cars. It was about people. It showed the emotional connection people had with their vehicles. Some of these cars had been in families for generations. Others were dream projects that had been left in the garage for years. Edd wasn't just fixing engines. He was helping people reconnect with their dreams. The show felt personal and real. It was everything fans loved about Edd from his wheeler dealers days, but with more heart. Edd didn't stop there. He began working on another show called Workshop Diaries. This series gave viewers a deeper look into Edd's daily life in the garage. It was unscripted, honest, and filled with real mechanical work. He talked about his ideas, showed his tools, and explained his thinking. It was a return to the kind of educational content that made him famous in the first place. He even started exploring new technologies, like electric powertrains and green engineering solutions. Over time, Edd built a new community of fans on YouTube. He was no longer part of a big television network, but he had something better: freedom. He could work on the projects he cared about. He could teach people without being rushed. And most importantly, he could stay true to himself. Fans appreciated that. They loved seeing Edd happy, creative, and in his element. Even though he left wheeler dealers, Edd China didn't disappear. He just took a different path. A quieter one. But in many ways, it was the right path. He proved that you don't have to stay in the spotlight to make a difference. Sometimes, the best work happens when no one is watching. And when he did return, he brought something meaningful with him, not just a show, but a message. Stay true to your values. Follow your passion. And never be afraid to start over. What people found when they opened Edd China's garage was not just a bunch of tools and car parts. They found a man who had stepped away from fame, listened to his heart, and quietly built a new future. One that no one saw coming. But maybe, deep down, we all hoped for it. Because Edd China isn't just a mechanic. He's a teacher, a thinker, and a reminder that doing things the right way still matters. The frustration of unfinished dreams, the passion behind every oily frame, and the sense of relief when someone finally gets the help they need to move forward was something Edd deeply understood. He wasn't just fixing engines. He was helping people move forward, emotionally and mentally. When someone got stuck in a project and couldn't go on, Edd stepped in, gave them hope, and showed them that it was still possible to finish. In the first episode of his new show, he helped someone with a classic VW Golf GTI. The car had been sitting, half-finished, for a long time. The owner had done as much as he could with the tools and knowledge he had, but then he hit a wall. When Edd showed up, he didn't try to make things look dramatic or fancy. He simply examined the car, explained everything step by step, and showed the honest reality of what needed to be done. This honest and direct approach became the soul of Garage Revival. There was no dramatic background music, no over-the-top narration. It was just Edd, the car, and the camera. He explained things in a way that everyone could understand. If a brake line was stuck, he showed how to free it. If the gearbox was misaligned, he walked the audience through the internal mechanics. Fans who had missed Edd's detailed repair segments on Wheeler Dealers were thrilled. It felt like the return of a familiar friend. The show didn't have big production budgets or flashy effects, but that was exactly what made it special. Edd was in control. He wrote, presented, and even helped direct the editing. It was raw, real, and meaningful. The response was instant. The first episode got hundreds of thousands of views within days. Fans flooded the comments section with praise, gratitude, and relief. They welcomed him back and thanked him for staying true to his original style. Some even said that Garage Revival was better than Wheeler Dealers because it was more personal and more focused on real learning. Behind the scenes, starting Garage Revival was also a test. Edd wasn't sure if he wanted to return to the public eye. YouTube gave him the freedom to try without committing to a long-term contract. It allowed him to experiment and reconnect with his fans without anyone else controlling the show. Fans could now talk to him directly, suggest cars to feature, ask questions, and even point out things they noticed. More episodes followed in the next few months. There was a Triumph Herald, a neglected Land Rover, and many other unique vehicles. Each story unfolded slowly. Edd didn't rush the process or use time-saving tricks. He worked with the same real-world limitations as any home mechanic. He dealt with stubborn bolts, hard-to-find parts, and unexpected problems. That's what made the show so relatable. Edd wasn't showing people how to build perfect show cars. He was helping them get that one job done right, the kind of job you might have been putting off for months. In doing this, he brought back the spirit of hands-on educational car shows. That kind of content had been disappearing from mainstream media. Garage Revival didn't become a giant brand, but it didn't need to. It was a personal project, and that made it special. Edd showed his longtime fans that he hadn't disappeared. He had simply taken a different path. By the end of 2018, he had proven he could stay relevant without a TV network. All he needed was a camera, a good project, and the desire to help others. Later, a small group of people got the chance to tour Edd's garage. What they saw was amazing. Behind a quiet door, past a driveway filled with parts and tools, was the space where Edd had spent years building his own world. Inside, it was hard to know where to look first. One corner held the famous street-legal sofa. Another spot had a motorized bathroom, a real toilet with plumbing that could drive around. These weren't just jokes or props. They were real vehicles registered to drive on public roads. They were proof of what's possible when creativity meets skill. But not everything in the garage was fun and games. In one dark corner, they found a half-built machine that had clearly gone wrong. It was a self-steering bar stool that Edd had once planned to show off publicly. The idea was to create a small, gyroscope-balanced vehicle, but it had ended in disaster. Wires were hanging out, some parts looked burned, and the wood underneath was blackened. The battery had apparently overheated and left burn marks. No one got hurt, but it looked like Edd had narrowly avoided a serious fire. For someone known for precision, it was a rare look at how dangerous inventing can be. One person said, it looked like it tried to cook itself alive. Still, it made sense. Edd's garage wasn't just a workshop. It was a laboratory. He tried all kinds of ideas. Some worked beautifully, others failed badly. But he never stopped trying. Each failed experiment told the same story. Edd is someone who always wants to create something new, no matter the risk. After Garage Revival, Edd faced a choice. He could stay independent or return to traditional media. He chose to stay independent but with a bigger goal. He wanted to change how people thought about cars and engineering. He had always been interested in sustainable transportation, long before electric cars became popular. Now he had the freedom to focus on it. In April 2021, he started a new YouTube series called Edd China's Workshop Diaries. This show wasn't about helping other people fix their cars. It was about sharing his own projects. He let viewers into his garage to see what he was building, testing, and thinking about. The episodes came out weekly, each one lasting between 20 and 40 minutes. Some showed him taking apart engines or testing parts for electric cars. Others focused on specific repairs, like fixing suspension systems or restoring gearboxes. But what made Workshop Diaries special was the tone. It wasn't fast or flashy. It was slow, thoughtful, and honest. Edd talked directly to the camera like he was talking to an old friend. He explained what he was doing and why. One of the early projects was converting a classic Mini to run on electricity. Edd showed that electric cars didn't have to be boring. You could take a fun, beautiful old car and give it a new, clean life. He walked viewers through every step, choosing the motor, fitting the batteries, wiring the system. Nothing was hidden or rushed. It was real education. As the show continued, Edd explored even more topics. Some episodes were about traditional repair jobs. Others looked at new ideas like making car parts from recycled materials or testing systems that recover energy during braking. He even showed viewers how to make their own tools or answered questions sent in by fans. No one told him what to film. There were no sponsors or advertisers controlling the content. It was just Edd, his curiosity, and his love for engineering. The response from viewers was overwhelmingly positive. People loved how clearly Edd explained everything. They appreciated his deep knowledge and calm style. The show wasn't loud, but it was powerful. Viewers felt like they were learning something important, not just about cars but about the future. There was also a quiet emotional part to the series. Watching Edd each week, you could tell that he had healed from his time on Wheeler Dealers. There was no anger. Just peace. He looked comfortable and happy. Workshop Diaries was more than a show. It was a way for Edd to reconnect with the world in his own way. By the second year, the show had built a strong community. It became a place for engineers, hobbyists, and car lovers to come together. Sometimes Edd invited guests, old friends from the industry, but the focus stayed the same. It was about honest work, deep thought, and meaningful projects. Edd China's story is more than just a career journey. It's a lesson in staying true to yourself. He could have stayed on Wheeler Dealers, taken the money, and changed who he was. But he didn't. He left because he believed the process mattered. He wanted to show people how things really worked, not just the end results. That choice wasn't easy. It was risky. But it earned him deep respect. People saw that he stood by his values. He didn't just talk about quality and honesty, he lived it. Even when the cameras were off, he kept learning, teaching, and building. Today, Edd continues to make new episodes of Workshop Diaries. He's still exploring new technologies, still fixing cars, still answering tough questions. For every young person picking up a tool for the first time, for every home mechanic stuck on a project, for every engineer dreaming of cleaner energy, Edd is there. He's calm, patient, and always curious. His YouTube channel is more than just videos, it's a place to learn, be inspired, and remember that real craftsmanship still matters. Edd reminds us that engineering isn't just about speed or money. It's about solving problems, taking your time, and doing things right. If you agree, leave a comment and let him know. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe our channel. Have a good day.